Hello, hello, and welcome to the Moannaadams podcast, where we talk all things travel, wellness, and teenage girl. I'm your host, Moanna, a full-time travel teen. I have a great episode for you this week, so let's get into it. Hello, hello, welcome back. I am excited for this episode, but it's going to be an interesting topic. We're talking about FOMO, aka fear of missing out. And this episode hits me pretty good because I've spent the last year traveling the country with my family. And of course, I'm so grateful for the opportunity to be able to travel full time, and I love it. But I also have missed things at home, and that's been hard. Definitely something that I've had to, work through and figure out, but I'm excited to share all the things I've learned in today's episode. Before we can get into the bulk of the episode, though, where am I recording? I am recording from Maine. I actually just finished recording episode 7, and I liked it. It sounded great. I was excited for it. So now I'm using, as I talked about in that episode, that progress to motivate me to record another one for you. What am I grateful for? I am grateful that I have not been sick in a long time. I have had a few migraines within the past few months, but honestly that is mostly my own doing from not drinking enough water. So that's kind of on me. But I have not been sick. I have not gotten the flu or anything like that in a really long time. I honestly don't think any of us have been actually sick since the very beginning of the trip. Everest did have the sniffles yesterday, and so that's why I'm grateful I'm not sick, because a lot of the times when she gets sick, the next day I'll wake up sick, but everyone else in the rig seems to be fine. She just has some little sniffles. It's probably more likely from the temperature drop that we've experienced the past few days. But I'm very grateful that I have not been sick and that I am, generally speaking, very healthy right now. What I'm currently in love with is protein pasta. Now, I have been eating this for a long time. I think I took a break for a while and stopped eating it until more recently when I found it again. And to me, it doesn't taste different than normal pasta, but it's packed with so much protein. It has chickpea flour and I think pea protein in it. And I love pasta. I will eat pasta all day, every day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner if I could. When I was younger, I would just eat straight butter noodles with Parmesan. Sometimes I still do that. But recently, I did try this one bell pepper pasta sauce that I really loved, but it was a lot of work. So I kind of got lazy, and now I'm back to classic green basil pesto and olive oil with some Parmesan on it for lunch a lot of the days. I really love it. It's delicious and definitely a comfort food. There's nothing I love more than sitting on the couch with a bowl of warm pasta in my lap watching YouTube or a movie or a TV show. So I love the protein pasta. It's delicious. And I never get enough protein, so it definitely helps me get more in my diet. So today's episode is about FOMO. FOMO is the fear of missing out, usually on social events. Missing a party, a sports game, something that other people got to go to and you didn't. I think everyone has probably experienced this before. I know I have many, many, many times. And honestly, it's natural. It's human nature to want things that we couldn't have or don't have. I find that it distracts from your own life because you're more worried and you're comparing between someone else's life. And you're more focused on what they're doing rather than what you got to do while they were doing that fun activity, or whatever it is that you felt like you're missing out on. I definitely have felt a lot of FOMO this year because, yes, I am traveling, and like I said earlier, I am so incredibly grateful for being able to travel, and I love it, but being in high school, there's definitely a lot of things that I have missed out on and am currently missing out on. It's actually pretty fitting that I'm recording this now because the school that I would have been going to, where most of my friends go, it's their homecoming week this week. So I'm seeing everyone dress up for the different days, and then the game will be this Friday, and then homecoming will be on Saturday. And I did get to go to homecoming last year, and I loved it, so I'm a little bit disappointed that I'm missing out, but we're going to Acadia, so that's making up for it, and I'm excited for that. Generally, what causes FOMO for me is social media. It's definitely a big contributor, because the reality is it shows the highlight reel of someone's life. Most people don't post about vulnerable things or the real things, and I don't mean real by they're being fake with the other things, but more personal, and you're not seeing the whole picture. You're only seeing the picture perfect, beautiful parts of that picture, and you're not seeing the flaws. And so that definitely can cause FOMO. For me, I see, people posting about whatever it may be. This week it's homecoming, and it's definitely hard because I want to be there with them. I want to experience those things with them, and you only get so much time as a teenager, and you only get 4 years in high school. So I'm missing out on one of 4 homecomings, but I'm getting to travel the country, which very few people get to do. So it's a hard and confusing and emotional balance that I've had to figure out. I definitely really struggled with this in the beginning to middle of the trip. Now we're kind of on the end, but it was definitely hard for me, and I definitely miss my friends at home so very much, but I've really learned to enjoy what I'm doing in the moment and not care about what anyone else is doing, right? Because people back home, I'm sure, have been jealous or wish that they could have done what I'm doing. And so it goes both ways. Traveling full-time, I'm always home. Traveling full-time, I'm always away from home and quote-unquote missing out on a lot of things there, right? Activities with friends, time with my mom, time with my dog. It's definitely caused a lot of anxiety and sadness before that I've had to pull through. And I have to remind myself a lot that I'm getting experiences that some people and most people will never get in their entire life. I'm hitting 48 states in 48 weeks. Very few people can say that they've done that. I'm so grateful that my parents were able to put in the work and the time that it took to get us to this point. And I absolutely, genuinely love traveling. But it's, like I said, it's a hard balance. What can help protect us from FOMO, and how can we treat it, right? Once we feel that, what can we do to make ourselves feel better? I definitely think building up your self-esteem is going to help, because that causes you to focus more on yourself rather than anybody else. A lot of people say, your self-esteem, build it, but it took me a while to, learn how. Nobody ever really explains how. They're just build your self-esteem, or you're putting your self-esteem down. But some ways that we can build our self-esteem up is by things like positive self-talk. And avoid comparing ourselves, and our lives to other people and their lives. Because, like I said, you never see the full picture. You never truly know what's going on with them. They could be greatly struggling, and all you see is this happy person who has the life of their dreams, right? And by setting manageable goals, because when we complete a goal, we feel good. We feel good about ourselves. We're proud of ourselves. And so by setting goals, even on a day-to-day basis, setting those and accomplishing them, it's going to build our self-esteem. It's going to make us feel good about ourselves. It's going to bring us confidence. And then another way that we can protect ourselves is by practicing gratitude, which I'm going to plug it, but episode 3 is all about practicing gratitude. And by practicing gratitude, we're appreciating what we have. And if you catch yourself comparing, or if you catch yourself feeling this FOMO, just think 3 things that you're grateful for. Maybe you're grateful for what you're doing in that moment, right? Maybe you're spending your time differently, but that doesn't make your time any less valuable. And then by just focusing on ourselves and valuing alone time, I have spent, obviously, a lot less of my time working on my relationships with my friends, and a lot more of it has been spent working on my relationship with myself. I have learned a lot about myself this year, and have changed and developed, and I would say evolved a lot this year. And by making that alone time useful, I am taking my time, and they might be spending their time differently in a way that I wish I could be, but if I can take my time and use it in a way that makes me feel good, and even if I'm not getting that experience that they have, I'm still using that time productively. I'm still developing, and maybe I'm even using it more wisely than they are. Maybe they're doing something, and sure, I wish I could be there, but I'm putting in the time and effort to do other things. Maybe I'm checking off things on my to-do list. And, that's okay. Everybody's lifestyle is different, and everybody needs to be able to step back and focus on themselves. The next thing that we can do to treat our FOMO is a digital detox. So, like I said, one thing that definitely causes a lot of anxiety and FOMO for myself is social media. And so by stepping back, stepping away, and again, spending quality alone time instead, definitely helps me manage that balance and be more excited about what I'm doing in that moment and living in that moment where I'm spending that time wisely. I am enjoying that time with myself. I'm getting to know myself better. When you are sitting with yourself and you stop worrying about what anybody else is doing. You stop worrying about how they're spending their time, what you're missing out on, because you're able to really enjoy that time with yourself. And the last thing for treating and protecting ourselves from FOMO is journaling. If you've listened to my episodes before, I talk about this all the time. And once again, I'm going to plug it, but episode 2 is all about journaling, how and why to start journaling. And journaling is a big factor in my life. And it might not be for you, but don't knock it till you try it. Try it out, and it might take you a few tries. So don't do it once and decide that it's not for you. Give it a couple tries. But I really enjoy getting my thoughts on paper, and if you find journal prompts, and I'm sure they're out there, find journal prompts on FOMO. Maybe it will help you develop a better relationship with it, where you can recognize it and then treat it. And there's also that, well, why does it matter? Like, you might feel it and realize, oh, I am having FOMO right now, and you might just write it off. Like, oh well. You might go on with your day unmotivated and mopey and grumpy because you're sad and you're not recognizing those emotions in yourself and properly acknowledging them. And that can definitely lead to lower self-esteem. I know that for a while I was struggling with figuring out how to deal with my FOMO, and it took me a while, but once I did, I definitely felt this big boost of self-confidence. Like, I am living the dream, I'm traveling, and I have a chance that very few people, especially at my age, get, to be alone without any friends. I don't mean that. I do have friends and I love them, but being away from them has allowed me to get to know myself, and I'm spending more time with just me. And of course, yes, I'm still working on those relationships. I'm still keeping in touch. I'm still talking to them almost every single day. But it's definitely allowed me to step back and look at my life, how it was back home, and notice, like, maybe that person I hung out with, we didn't properly click, or maybe they brought out a side of me that I didn't like very much. And I'm able to understand that and leave that behind. To me, experiences are really important. To me, experiences are currency. And if they have an experience that I don't have, I want that. I want to be able to say, oh, I did that. Right? I want to be able to brag about it. I want to be able to say, like, oh, I did that. I can do that. I've done that before, right? Experience is currency to me, and I think to a lot of people now, more people are realizing that experience should be currency, and that experiences are more important, and that definitely has caused a lot of anxiety and FOMO in myself. Is I want that. I want to be rich with that experience currency, and I want more and more and more. I want to get as much as I can. It's definitely changed the way I look at my life. I used to dread having to get in the car with maybe a family member that I didn't know very well, or really any adult that I wasn't close with, because I hated awkward conversation and small talk, but now I look at it as an opportunity, right? This person is older, maybe wiser. Age does not earn respect or intelligence, but this person might have even just the smallest little bit of information that might help me in the long run, right? I might learn something from them, and I might not realize it's from them, but I might take that with me. So anytime I get an opportunity to do something, I use all the willpower I can, even when I don't want to do it, and I take it. And I get excited about it, and I try, and it's right there in front of me because I'm sitting in the Jeep on the rig in big letters, but I try and embrace that experience and really be excited that I'm getting this opportunity. Every single thing is an opportunity, so I try and take that, and I don't feel FOMO as much anymore because I know that I'm probably taking more opportunities than they are. And yes, you should definitely know when it's time to say no, but a lot of the time, sometimes I'm still struggling saying no, and so I'd rather take that opportunity and use it than be miserable and upset that I didn't say no. I think FOMO definitely has led to some burnout, at least for me this year, because I would, even if I was so motivated, and then I'd see maybe a post or I'd get a text or, whatever it was about something from back home that someone else was getting to do. Or my mom, she just went on a trip to Italy, and I have always wanted to go to Europe, but I can't expect her to just stop traveling and experiencing her life when I'm out experiencing mine. So I missed out on Italy, but, and before Italy, I definitely felt like upset that I was missing those things. I wasn't going to get to go to Italy with her, do those things, but I still have that chance to go. She said she really liked it, so maybe she'll go again and she'll take me. Or maybe one day in the future I'll get to, but right now I'm in New Hampshire, or right on the second, but I was in New Hampshire, and I loved it there. We got to hike, we got to apple pick, I got to spend time with family, and it was awesome. So if I had gone to Italy with her, I would have missed out on that. So I'm grateful and I'm excited about that, and by being excited about what's going on right now and loving that, I'm not dreading that she's going to Italy, and I'm not, hanging on to that and pulling that around with me and slowly forcing myself to be burnt out. I'm motivating myself even more that, when I get home, maybe I can talk to her, maybe we can go together. My brother wants to go to Rome so badly. He wants to go see the Colosseum. Maybe we'll go. But right now, I'm on the trip of a lifetime. What am I doing thinking about what she's doing? I love traveling. I love exploring the U.S., and I love the Northeast, especially in fall. So why am I dreading that? Come on, Moanna, get over it. So yeah, that was a little ranty, but burnout. And also, that kind of went into lack of motivation, right? I'm pulling that sadness, that anxiety, that feeling of being left behind, of missing out, and turning that into, well, I'm getting to do this, or I'm getting the chance to do this. I have the opportunity to do something else with my time. And that's what's going to push me and motivate me. This episode was definitely very ranty, but I hope that you enjoyed and got something out of it. And I feel like I need to do this because so many people freak out about people sharing their thoughts. But disclaimer, I'm not a doctor, I'm not your therapist. I'm 15, sitting in a car behind my RV that I live in full-time, traveling, sharing my thoughts. So don't come at me, but that was the episode. I hope you loved it. Thank you so much for listening. Be sure to give this podcast a rate and review, as well as follow me on all my socials linked in the show notes. Don't forget to drink some water, and I'll talk to you later.